Howdy folks, I'm Keen Krypton, karmically kenneling killer keys.
I'm Amber.
And why are we kenneling killer keys, Amber?
Well, because they're murderous, they have to be kenneled so that they don't get out and keep on their killing sprees.
All they killed was unlocking doors. That's all they killed.
No, those are different keys you're thinking of. These are very vicious keys, and you want to stay far away from them. They work with Bernard the Unhinged.
Oh, that explains everything. Let's get started. Alright folks, our letter on this Saturday morning special is titled, Am I a Jerk for Defending My Husband After My Ex-Husband Abandoned Our Children? I'm a 38-year-old female, and I have a 9-year-old son, Max, and a 6-year-old daughter, Olivia, with my ex-husband, Dan, a 35-year-old male. Max has severe autism and requires a lot of care. I remarried 3 years ago, and my husband, Luke, is incredible. My ex, Dan, a 35-year-old male, has them for 6 hours every week. This week, this was on Tuesday, and I was away for a funeral, and Dan took the day off from work to be with them in the morning and evening. X and his girlfriend, Sophie, picked them up as planned at 11 a.m. My husband took his time to play a few rounds of golf with my brother. They finished the game at 4 p.m., and golf is 30 minutes away from our house. I got a call at 5 p.m. exactly from Sophie screaming at me about abandoning my kids. I was so confused, and eventually realized that Luke wasn't home yet. So I told her where the spare key was so they could wait for Luke to come home and they could go inside. Unfortunately, Luke's car had gone kaboom on the motorway, and he was in a complete coverage dead zone. He was able to call emergency services, but nothing else would connect. When police arrived, the first thing he did was ask someone if they could contact Dan to tell him what had happened. Sophie was already on the phone to the police to report me and my husband for child abandonment. They said that one of us should have been there, and my ex doesn't feel safe inside of our home, so they've left the kids inside our home, and that the police need to go and save our kids and arrest us. The police person speaking to them told them multiple times to turn around and that they were the ones who were abandoning them. This whole time, I was getting a message from Dan saying how this was unfair on him and Sophie, and that I'm a terrible parent for leaving them with someone who doesn't care about them. At this point, I didn't actually know what was going on. All I knew was that Luke wasn't home, but Dan had found the spare key. At no point did he tell me that they've left the kids alone. Luke got a hold of me via the police, and I arranged for a friend to go around as soon as possible, and the police were already there at the unit after the call with Sophie. After this, I've decided to try and get the 6 hours a week taken away. I've given him so much leeway over the years, and this was my limit. Our son is dependent on an adult, and our daughter is 6, and the only thing that he would say to defend himself is, well, I kept up my side of the arrangement by bringing them back after 6 hours. This has caused a huge whole other storm, to the point where Sophie sent me a message that the police are now investigating. Dan hinted that he's going to try and get the kids taken into care because of my husband abandoning them. I had multiple people ask me why I'm staying with someone who abandoned my children. His parents have threatened to try and gain custody over the children, saying that the children need a stable family, and they called my husband abusive. I said no way to this, and I put the whole story with evidence on my private Facebook page, and people quickly understood. But now I'm being branded a drama queen and a jerk for publicly blasting the father of my children, putting my husband above my kids. I don't understand how he's more of a father to them than Dan is. I feel like I've been taking crazy pills. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, this was a bad situation to happen, but Dan is literally a parent in the situation. Like, sometimes emergencies happen and people have to step up and spend an extra half hour or so with the children that they helped create.
Yeah, I imagine that.
Like, I just don't understand oh, well, let's just leave a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old home alone and let the police handle everything because I can't be bothered to parent my children.
Yeah, I just have no idea what kind of power move he was trying to pull here. Maybe he really sincerely thought inside of his head, I mean, he must have, that this was their responsibility to be there and that he could get the kids taken away or something, but he doesn't even sound like he wants the kids.
Yeah.
So why would he go out of his way to do something like this?
He just wants to hurt OP. It sounds like he wants them put in a care home or something, a group home or something, which is not good, not in the kids' best interest. Like, and his whole logic, it's like, it sounds like he expects OP to and her husband to never be away when they have the kids on their time because something might happen and they can't make the drop off. Like, they have to be able to do things when they're not responsible for watching the kids.
Yeah, I think that this is just an absurd situation. I feel so bad for OP. I'm glad the kids were all right in the end because this could have turned into a really bad situation. I mean, I'm glad that they called the police on themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, good job. You called the police on the child abandoners, and hopefully they'll make sure that you never have the kids again.
Yeah, well, I just hope that, that they do not have any more access to the kids. I mean, it sounds like they don't like the kids or want them anyway. I'm still not sure why they're even doing the 6 hours at this point. So, I hope that the kids do not have to deal with this nonsense anymore.
Yeah, you and me both. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Flying Garbanzo Bean says, not the jerk, wow, I'm glad that your kids are okay. Sophie seems smug about the fact that the police are investigating, but she should realize that her and Dan are the ones that they're investigating. Yeah, these people are just absurd. And OP replies, OP here, I had to make a new account as I didn't save the password for this account. I guess that I'm pretty terrible too. I worded it a bit badly in the post. Sophie sent me a message and the police are now investigating those messages. Said some horrendous stuff about my kids and even worse stuff about me. Hopefully enough for me to prevent her from ever being near the kids again. Let's hope. Flying Garbanzo Bean says, oh, I see. I thought you were saying that in the messages from Sophie, she was saying the police are investigating. Good luck. I hope that you're able to keep both Sophie and Dan away from your kids. And Gray3737 says, not the jerk. You are at a funeral. You entrusted the father of your children to actually care about the kids. He gets 6 hours out of 168 hours in a week and didn't feel like having them for an extra hour, regardless of circumstances. He could have said, oh, they're not home yet. I get to spend more time with my kids. But instead, he threw them in the house and peace signed out. Does he even like his kids? And OP replies, I don't know, but I know that she doesn't. She won't even be in the same room with them ever again. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber's got a joke.
What is Count Dracula's favorite sport?
Another vampire joke. Another vampire joke. Folks, what did I say about this joke book? It's literally all vampire jokes. Jovial Bob Stein. Why? What's up with all the vampire jokes? I mean, I guess yesterday we did have a monster eating dishes, so I guess that makes up for things a little bit. I don't even remember what the joke was now. I'm so enraged.
What is Count Dracula's favorite sport?
I think his favorite sport is tooth decay. I don't know. Some weird thing. Bat skitball or bat baseball because it has bats in it. I don't know.
Skin diving.
Skin diving?
I think instead of skydiving.
I mean, I think what does Jovial Bob Sign think vampires do? Does he think they're the guy from the Silence of the Lambs? Because that sure sounds like what he thinks that they are.
Well, I mean, they sink their fangs into the skin, I think is what he's going for.
Well,
but...
Oh, I guess that kind of works. Maybe a little less horrific than my whole vision of what skin diving actually was. I'm like, this sounds horrifying. It's like parachuting, but with skin. I don't know. I'm not a vampire.
Or are you?
Or am I? And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, spectacular, special Saturday, folks. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it involve child abandonment.
Don't. Don't abandon your children.
You know, you think we wouldn't have to say that here, but with as many times as we've read stories about people abandoning their children, I guess it needs to be said again. Don't abandon your children. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.